be back in Savannah. Great to be back in Chatham County. And aren't we glad that the good Lord has given us this cloud cover to cool us off?
Yeah.
Well, listen, I am really glad to be back with you. This is as fine a group of activists anywhere in the state of Georgia, anywhere in America. And I was happy to come down because I really believe that these Tea Parties that are taking place all over America are scaring the White House to death, and for very good reason. Because the grassroots conservatives and people of faith of this nation have awoken from their slumber. We are going to put on our work boots and we are going to get our country back to the principles upon which she was founded, of liberty and freedom and strong families and limited government. We're only about 120 days into this administration, and I want to just quickly tick off what his domestic achievements have been. First of all, Barack Obama rushed through a stimulus package that was $787 billion, almost 85% of which is pork and waste and bureaucracy, only 11% of which will be spent by the end of 2009. And Obama's explanation for why we had to pass it right then, right now, even though nobody had read the bill, is because he said if we didn't pass it, that unemployment would rise over 8%.
Oh, wow.
Well, now unemployment is at 9.5% and heading towards 10%. He said that if we passed the stimulus, that it would create 4 million new jobs. Since we passed the stimulus, we've lost 2.6 million jobs.
Yeah.
So he was only off by 6.6 million jobs. That was achievement number one. Achievement number two was his budget, which this year alone created a deficit of $1.8 trillion, which was 5 times the largest deficit in American history. It also doubles the national debt in the next 5 years and nearly triples it in the next 10 years. And if Barack Obama were to serve 2 complete terms, and by the way, we're going to make sure he doesn't, but if he did under that budget when he left office, the deficit would be $19 trillion, which is $250,000 tax on every man, woman, and child in America. Now let's turn to health care. You know, I think the seminal inflection point of this debate, ladies and gentlemen, was in June when the Congressional Budget Office, appointed by Nancy Pelosi, a Democrat, the head of the CBO, wrote a letter to Ted Kennedy and said, and I'm roughly paraphrasing, "I've reviewed your legislation, and if it is passed 10 years from now, it will cost $1.6 trillion. It will blow a hole in the deficit, $238 billion. It will raise $500 billion in new taxes on working families, small business, and seniors. It will cut Medicare benefits for seniors $500 billion. It will remove 88 million people from their current perfectly good private health insurance plan and herd them into a government-run bureaucracy. And when it's all over 10 years from now, 37 million Americans still won't have health insurance." Now, folks, this is their plan. And, you know, the other day in Raleigh, North Carolina, Barack Obama got up and said, "I'm tired of my opponents scaring people by saying that they're going to lose their current health insurance." But he didn't read his own bill. Read pages 15 through 17 of the Waxman bill. Just go online and Google or some other search engine, look up the Waxman bill. Pages 15 through 17, your current health insurance that you have now, if it changes for any reason, or you change jobs, or your employer changes insurance companies, guess what? You're herded into the one-size-fits-all government bureaucracy. Well, let me tell you something. Barack Obama and the 60 Democrats in the Senate and Nancy Pelosi and Waxman and everybody else may think that this was a done deal. They couldn't even get it through a Congress they controlled by 70 votes before August. We've now got the entire August recess, and we are going to defeat this Obamacare once and for all during this recess. And then the fourth Obama achievement, and I use that in quotation marks, I see it referenced on some of the signs here, was his cap and tax plan. Now, this one, if you can believe it, is even more absurd than a health care plan that removes 88 million people from private health insurance and leaves 37 million people uninsured. This plan would not reduce carbon emissions at all for the next 10 years. It kicks that can down the road until about the year 2025. It doesn't do anything to reduce the carbon emissions of China and India, which are now the #1 carbon emitters in the world. So even if you buy in to the junk science that says that carbon is pollution, and by the way, all that is exhaling. You know, it's breath. But even if you buy into that, it does nothing about carbon emissions. But you know what it does do? It creates a gigantic bureaucracy of trading carbon credits that will, according to one study, increase the average American family's utility bill between $1,500 and $3,000 a year. Now, what we have to do is we have to get about the business of first stopping this agenda and then offering a common sense conservative alternative. That's what we have to do. And what I'd like for you to do is I have started a new grassroots venture called the Faith and Freedom Coalition. You can go to faithandfreedomcoalition.com or ffcoalition.com. We've got a petition to stop Obamacare. And on August 22nd in Atlanta, if you want to come up the road and be with me, we're going to have a rally with Sean Hannity to stand up for our values. So I hope you'll come. We're passing out flyers. God bless you for all you do, and I'm honored